guys, it's Nick here with Nick's Whip Shop, and in today's video we have kind of a two-in-one tutorial that we're going to be going through. First of all, I've been getting a lot of requests from people on how to do a 16 plait single strand diamond handle. So we're going to be covering that today, but at the same time I'm going to be showing you how to set up a checkered pattern in 16 plait single strand diamond braid. So let's get to it. So here we have a 16 plait 7-foot bullwhip that we're working on. As you can see, the overlay for the thong is complete, but we just have the bare handle here, and that's what we're going to be covering up with the 16 plait diamond plait in the next few minutes. So the handle is 10 inches long, so we want to make sure that we have our strands coming down at least 20 inches, because once we plait, it's going to be about half of that. So at least 20 inches, and I like to add another 5 inches to each strand. That way, once you're getting towards the end, things are getting really short. You still have plenty of strand to grab onto to make sure that it's tight all the way down to the very end. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut 25-inch sections. We're going to do 8 of those in one color and 8 of them in another color. So here I have 8 25-inch red pieces of gutted paracord. And over here we have 8 to 25 inches of gutted black paracord. And the next step is to fuse them together. Now there's a few ways that you can fuse paracord together, but this is just my favorite method. It's quick, it's easy. It's not going to support a whole lot of stress, but in this case we don't need to worry about that. So what I'll do is I'll melt one end of the parachute cord to a point. And I'll kind of mold it with my fingers a little bit. Do this quickly so you don't burn yourself. And I'll take the other parachute cord and just kind of hit it with my point of my finger like this to open things up a little bit. And I'll take this and stick it inside and almost thread it inside the other cord, the other color. And once we have it about a ½ an inch in, I like to fray this end piece a little bit here, and we're going to just kind of melt all around that. Get it nice and molten, and then just pinch it with our fingers like this. Let that dry, and this will support quite a bit of stress. Like I said, in this case we don't need to worry about this supporting 1,000 pounds. Alright, let's move on. Okay guys, we have all of our strands here fused together. As you can see, I can put quite a bit of pressure on there. Like I said, we don't need them to be super strong. So now let's go ahead and attach them to the handle of our whip and begin plaiting. Okay, so we have here 4 strands. It originally was 8 strands, 4 and 4 fused together. That now that they are combined, I'm just going to call them 4 strands. We're going to take them and put red on all one side and black on all one side. And then we're just going to tie this on like we would any other overlay of a whip, like this. Alright. So just like this, make sure that the fused sections are exactly in the middle behind the handle. Make sure they're all lined up even, so everything stays even. We're going to give it some slack like this, like you've seen in my other tutorials. Push this out, and big old loop there. And now we're going to take our other strands here in the other hand. This can be a bit tricky at first if you're doing this by yourself. And we're going to take the red end and feed the red end, all the red ends, through that loop. Okay, just like this. Push them through, and once they're through, sorry, I'm having some difficulties. Alright, push them through like that, and then we can close this loop off. Don't pull it super tight because you can break that the fuse between the 2 colors. I found that 2 separate colors, for some reason the dye makes the consistency of the molten plastic, molten nylon, it makes them, 2 colors don't like to stick very well to each other. So just be careful when you pull. Don't pull super tight, okay? So we pull this, make it snug. Once again, make sure that the fused sections are behind the handle. So then we're going to pull one at a time until we find the middle, the fused point. So there it is. You can see it stops it right there. Next. That's the fused middle. Next. Fused middle stops us again, and then we have one more to pull through. And I'm just going to pull that through a little further. Okay, good. So now we have 8 black strands on one side and the remaining 8 red strands on the other side. So it's time to start plaiting. Alright, let's do it. We're going to start off with our upper right strand. We're going to take it, and the sequence to this is we're going to go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. Now this single strand diamond plait, especially because it's a 16 plait, it's a bit time consuming actually, because you're doing one strand at a time, under, over, under, over, under, you know, all under all the, and over all the strands. It's a lot slower than it would be just a normal herringbone. So then the strand on the bottom, on the surface, is pointing to the upper left, and we're just going to alternate over here and do the same thing that we did. And it gets tricky. I'm going to go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. And what makes this pattern tricky is sometimes the strands kind of overlap and they switch places. So you got to pull them out and make sure that, let me zoom in a little bit, make sure that they are, you're pulling on the right strand and going under or going over the correct strand. And that can be tricky. And if you're not sure, separate them, make sure that one's not on top of each other. And if you're not sure, tug on this strand here. If you don't know if you're supposed to go over this or under this, tug on this and see what's going on up here. If you're pulling this and this strand is moving, you know that they got swapped, they got crisscrossed at some point, and you need to untangle them. So, and we're not pulling super tight yet because we're still connected to here. All the pressure, all the force is going to be, all the stress is on these fused pieces, and it is still possible to break them. So just be easy on it. And now we're going to go to the right side again. And at this point, I'm going to move the camera over to my left so you can see what I'm doing here. And this is important that I get this angle for you guys to see. Alright. Forgive me if this is a little, it is tricky to work around the camera. So here we go, we're going to go under. Sorry. We go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. And you can see the pattern is starting to take shape a little bit. Now this is also important. Once you do about 4 to 5 passes, or less actually, maybe 3 to 4 passes, you'll start to see that it's staggered. Every other strand is either up or down. So as you can see this, whichever strand is up, you're going to go over that. Whichever strand is below, you're going to go under it to bring it up. So you're kind of pushing the strand, you're going over the ones that are up and under the ones that are down. It's alternating that. So let's move over to the other side. And because it's an even 16 plait, we're always starting with under. Alright, see this? I was a little confused because this one was over here. I pull that and look, see the top strand is moving. And this is not the top strand below, so I know I need to move this over here. We're going to go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and over. And pull those strands and keep working on this pattern. Just keep on going, and I'll pick up in a few passes. Okay, so we've done about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8 passes here, and as you can see it's starting to look like a diamond plait. And after you break through the first full pattern to where you've started with one and ended with one, and you started the new one, the new strand for this the second time, it'll be much easier. Starting is the tricky part. Starting is where you have to really pay attention to your strands. But as you can see, we've moved on here, and we're going to keep going. I'm going to move to the left and show you what it looks like. Alright, here's a nice side view of the red side here. So I'm starting at the top right, and this is very important. Watch closely here. As I said before, I'm going under the strands that are low and that are below and over the strands that are above. So we go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and finishing with over. And then we're going to pull this. Now if you notice here, this is a step that a lot of people forget. All these red strands are kind of pushed forward. After each pass, each strand, you take each one individually and you're going to push it back. Just like this. Sorry, I'm having trouble seeing around my tripod. You're going to push each strand back, like this. And if you forget that step, you'll notice that the front looks like a diamond plait, but the back is very, the spacing is bad, and it almost looks like a herringbone in the back. So make sure you remember to pull each strand individually back. And after you pull it back, come back and pull each one with the grain, with the pattern. So there you go, that's what that looks like. I'm going to do a few more passes here while I have the camera at this angle. And take your time. This is a lengthy pattern, especially for the first time, because you're doing one strand at a time. It at least takes 8 times longer to do than a normal 16 plait herringbone pattern. So here we go, we're going to do it again. Under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and over. Grab all the strands, pull, take each one, each strand, and pull back. So good, pull another tug on everything, and now we can pull each individual strand in this one at an angle, just like that. So that's pretty much all it is, the diamond plait. Take your time. Make sure that you pull each strand evenly. Make sure that you pull each strand towards the back to cover 360 degrees around the handle. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If you have any extra questions, please feel free to contact me. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.